Hello, grade 8. How are you? I hope you're safe and well. Today in our biology lesson, we will learn about adolescence. So we learned before about reproduction and the developing of the fetus and twins also. We learned about twins. Today we are going to take another stage in our life. We will study another stage in our life or period in our lives. We call it adolescence. Adolescence is the teenage age as we know it. So let's read. First, I need you to grab your highlighter and highlight the points that I'm highlighting, and please follow me. Puberty. What is puberty? Puberty is a period that when people start to grow, when their body is developing and they start to grow, we call it puberty. It's like growing. Jasmine and Rakesh were the same height last year. Now she's taller than him. She has had a growth spurt. When Rakesh reaches puberty, he will start to grow faster too. His appearance and emotions will also change. So these two people here are sister and brother. They were the same height last year, but this year now she's taller than him. What happened to her? What happened to her and why she's taller than him? She had something called growth spurt. It's like she's growing suddenly. She grew up suddenly. This is growth spurt. Now she's in puberty stage or adolescence. So even when he reaches the puberty age or period, he will start to grow faster and everything about him will change. His appearance, his emotions, his behavior, everything. So what causes all this? Why people are growing up suddenly and everything about them is changing, their behavior, their body shapes and everything? What's the thing that make people grow up and be different from the childhood? Puberty is the time when young people mature. Puberty most often occurs between age 11 and 15. It's usually earlier in girls for girls than boys. So what is all this? In puberty age, this is the time when people start to grow and be a mature people. What is mature people? Mature people is different from the childhood period, which is when you grow up. This is the mature period, which is the growing up. And puberty, we can find it can occurs between age 11 and 15, from 11 to 15, and in mostly or usually we can see it in girls before boys. In our lives, we can see girls are growing up faster than boys, and then boys we can see them in teenage age. So the girls can get in teenage age earlier than the boys. So what causes all this also? Why they are growing up like this and why they have this, especially in this age of their lives? This is all because of something called hormones. We all know, or maybe you heard about something called hormones, but what is this thing? Is it an organ? Or is it a tissue? Or is it something chemical, like, or what exactly? So let's see. When you reach puberty, your brain causes your testes or ovaries to pour hormones into your blood. We studied before about testes and ovaries, and we said these organs can release sperm cells and egg cells. Also, when you get in this puberty stage, your brain will cause these two organs to pour hormones. These hormones are chemicals, chemical messengers, okay, can affect a lot of things or many parts in your body. So these hormones goes to your blood and affect many parts of your body, which are chemical messengers. So what is the function of these chemical messengers? These chemical messengers can stimulate your organs to develop, your body in general, your body, and even can change your behavior, can change the way you are thinking and everything. So this is the stage between being an adult and being a child. This is something between them, something between the childhood and the adult stage. You have hormones in your blood all the time, but you only really notice your 6 hormones during puberty. They cause the changes shown in the table. Okay, we will see the table after a few minutes. But what is these like hormones, and why do we have it in our blood? In general, we have these hormones all the time in our blood, not just in puberty age. But the 6 hormones, we can notice these 6 hormones in our puberty age, okay? And why is this? Because they can change a lot of things and very obvious things in our body. So for the boys and the girls, both of them, they have these hormones, but of course they have special hormones. For girls, they have the female hormones, and the boys, they have the male hormones. So what are the changes that can be or can occur in our bodies, can happen to our bodies? So for the boys, we have something in common together, like both girls and boys. But for the boys, first penis develops, then voice deepness, it will start to be like more loud, more rough, okay? Hair grows on face, like the beard and the mustache, and sperm produced. What about the girls? The girls' breasts develop, then period starts, and we studied about periods before. Hips widen and uterus develops, and all this comes to this development comes to make the body able to be a parent in future. Okay, what about both of them? What is something that the thing that is common in both of them, or similar to each other? Hair grows under arms and in pubic region. Pubic region is the pelvis region, okay? This is called the pubic region. Growth spurt, like you can, like your body will grow faster, will become bigger and taller. Hair grows on legs also. So both of them, they have these two. And boys, they have something, another different thing from the girls. Now let's do the next page. Periods. What is a period? We studied before about period, and we said this is something is happening for the females. So why the period is coming for the females, and what is the purpose? Why all the females should have period? A girl's period starts during puberty. She loses some blood through her vagina for 3 to 4 days. From 3 to 4 days, she will bleed. Each month, so this is happening each month. The bleeding is part of a series of events called the menstrual cycle. So what is the menstrual cycle? And why all this bleeding? It's nothing, it's not for nothing. This is very important because this period is, this menstrual cycle prepare the uterus to receive a fertilized egg to form an embryo. So each month the female start to bleed from the vagina or through the vagina for 3 to 4 days. Each month hormones make an egg mature in one of her ovaries. At the same time, her uterus builds up a thick lining. Then the egg is released. This is ovulation. What is ovulation? We talked about ovulation, we learned about it, and ovulation comes from the ovaries that releases ovules. What are these ovules? Ovules are the eggs. Each month, these hormones, the 6 hormones, when they increase in the blood, they will stimulate, or they will order the one of the ovaries to make a mature egg. Then this mature egg will be released in the oviduct, and then will wait until a sperm cell gets inside to fertilize it. If the sperm cell didn't fertilize the egg cell, this will cause bleeding. The egg will drop down. In this case, the hormone levels will decrease again in the blood. Then the thick lining will break down and goes down as bleeding. So the egg travels slowly down the oviduct towards the uterus. If it's fertilized, an embryo forms and implants it in the thick lining. If the egg isn't fertilized, the girl's hormone levels drop. This makes the lining of the uterus break down. So let's take a look over this diagram. This diagram shows the menstrual cycle, the days of the menstrual cycle, and the days of the period and the cycle, all the cycle, and how does this happen. So from day 1 to day 4, because we count the days as the bleeding day, the first day the uterus start or the vagina start to bleed, we count it as day 1. So from day 1 of bleeding, the first day of bleeding, until day 4, the uterus lining breaks down. These are the breaking down of the breaking down of the uterus, these spots that you can see here. Then this will be thin until a new uterus lining builds up. After day 4, new uterus lining builds up. That means we can say the wall of the uterus will start to rebuild itself, okay? Then it will rebuild itself and be thick. So why do we need the uterus walls to be thick? So it will be ready to implant an embryo. Because we said the embryo needs blood to take the nutrients and the oxygen. So it has to implant itself inside the uterus. So if we don't have thick walls supplied with blood, a lot of blood, the embryo cannot implant itself. So in day 14, this is the ovulation day. This is the day where the ovaries can release eggs, matured eggs. So this is the time of fertilization. This is very suitable time for fertilization. So the time when fertilization is most likely to occur if sperm enter the vagina. So here, the menstrual cycle here shows when fertilization is most likely to occur. When? In day 14. Okay? So the menstrual cycle can last for 28 days, usually can last 28 days. So here the egg leaves her body as a flow of blood through her vagina. We count the days of menstrual cycle from the first day of this bleeding. So as I said here, first day of bleeding, this is day 1. Okay? A menstrual cycle usually lasts 28 days, but can be longer or shorter. It can also vary from month to month. So in general, it lasts for 28 days, but sometimes it can be longer and sometimes can be shorter. And from month to month, it can change. It's not like exactly 28 days. Sometimes it's 20 days, sometimes more than 28 days, and like this. Periods stop while a woman is pregnant and end completely at menopause when she's about 50 years old. So what is this menopause? Menopause, when the woman is getting older and older, the body cannot hold the pregnancy, so that's why the hormones will start, the hormones level will drop, and this we call it the menopause age, which is start from the 50 years old, 50 and above. Let's take a look over this diagram and explain more about the menstrual cycle. So a woman's menstrual cycle prepares the uterus to receive a fertilized egg. Okay, we will start with day 1. We will start with day 1. Day 1 of what? Day 1 of bleeding. So when the bleeding starts, it can last for 4 days, sometimes 6 days. Then it will stop. It will stop. So what's happening after stopping? When the bleeding stops, this uterus will build up again. Will build up again. To build a new wall, okay, or new lining. Day 14, the ovaries will release another egg, matured egg. The egg will wait in the fallopian tube or the oviduct, as I told you. If the fertilization is happening, that means the period will stop. But if no sperm gets inside, that means unfertilized. So the lining breaks down and the bleeding will start again. So this is about the menstrual cycle. So why did they call it menstrual cycle? Because it keeps happening more over and over again each month. Different feelings. What are these different feelings, and why adolescents, or why the teenagers have different feelings? Why do they feel different? Why they are confused about everything? All this because of these hormones. When these hormones start to be released, 6 hormones start to be released in the blood and start to rise up in the blood or increase their levels in the blood, this can change everything. This can confuse and mix up everything inside the body. So when this is happening, this is happening during puberty. During puberty, your 6 hormones affect your mind as well as your body. They can make you feel moody and irritable. They can also upset your body's timer, so it's harder to get enough sleep. It feels like 8 p.m. when it's really 11 p.m. and it feels like 4 o'clock in the morning when it's time to get up for school. So in our daily lives, we all know that children are active. They can wake up early, they can sleep early, they can be happy all the time, they can be so energetic and so active. But when they get older, when they are growing up, they will pass through an age called this age of puberty. These 6 hormones will affect the mind and the body. This this can affect the mind. This can make the people so sensitive, so irritable. They don't know what's happening inside them. They feel lazy, they feel mad, they feel sad, they feel happy suddenly with no reason. They can be upset. They can be they can feel very happy, very joy, but without any reason. This is all because of these hormones. And also how this can affect the body, and can develop the 6 organs, can make the people taller, slimmer, can make them gain weight. This can change the shape of the body. So we can notice in teenage age, this can make the teenage boy or a girl cannot get enough sleep. They can wake up so late, can sleep so late, they cannot wake up early, and they can feel lazy all the time. And we said all these because of these chemical messengers called hormones. Now let's go to the summary of the lesson. I need you to write these notes in your notebook, please. Adolescence. Puberty is the time when young people mature. Hormones are chemical messengers which can affect many parts of your body. During puberty, 6 hormones can cause physical and emotional changes. Height increases rapidly, 6 organs develop, and periods can start in girls. What is menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle is a repetitive sequence of events that prepares the uterus to receive a fertilized egg. Ovulation when a matured egg cell is released from one of the ovaries each month. So this was all about the adolescence lesson. I hope you understood the lesson. Please, if you have any question, write it down, and don't forget that the yellow box is homework. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.